Gopala Astrology channel, where the science meets astrology for common man's understanding. Subscribe and stay tuned to this channel for continued astrological updates. Hello, welcome to Gopala Astrology channel, ladies and gentlemen, once again. And this is going to be an interview session with Mr. Rajiv Garg of New Delhi. So he is back with us. I hope you had a good week. Rajiv, how was your week this time?
It is great, and like more great, you have made it. You have because I am that is like this. I am full week. I am waiting for this session, and so that is really like my best time of the week.
Oh, same here. I'm also eager to meet you, and you are a man who asks a lot of interesting questions, and I'm sure our viewers would have the similar type of questions in their mind, and together we can explore more things in astrology. So today, we have to continue our last week's session, right? So I'm going to share my screen here, Rajiv, and see whether you can hear me well and see my screen as well. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I am able to see.
Excellent. So last week we covered the effect of malefic nature of planets. Then we also covered the exalted planets in Trigbhava when they become Trigbhava lords, and also exalted planet in Trigbhava itself. So today we will cover this 4, 5, and 6. They are going to be interesting sessions too. So planets in Supta Avastha, Yuva Avastha, and Vriddha Avastha. So some people call Supta Avastha as Balya Avastha also. It's another word for it, right? So even planets, they have the different stages of life, right? They get old, young, and yuva. So all that is there for planets also, like our human beings, how we behave when we were in a child ego state that we had, and then when we become youth, what type of energy level we have, and once we become old, what's going to happen, right? So let's talk about that interesting topic, and also we'll talk about exalted planets with malefic planets. That means when you're talking about conjunction of planets, all right? And the last one will be exalted planets, but they are combust. So these are the three topics that we are going to cover. Anything else you have, Rajiv? This is it?
Yeah, if exalted planets are retrograded.
Retrograde. So I'm going to add that here. Exalted planets are retrograde. So I'm just going to put that as a 7th point here. Okay. So I may have enough space for it, I guess.
And maybe like in 4th we can correct Supt. Instead of Supt we can mention it as the Balya Avastha, because it will be good. Because for Supt we have some like different terminology like Udita.
Yeah. Let's put Balya
Avastha.
Balya Avastha is good enough. And then here we just add the new topic that you just wanted to know. Retrograde. See, retrograde itself is a huge topic. In one of my videos, I showed how exactly retrograde happens. So when retrograde planets, what happens when exalted planets are retrograde, right? This is your question.
Right.
Planets are in retrograde. I'm just typing this, okay? So retrograde, so that we don't forget to add those things towards the end. All right, so let's begin our journey with the avasthas of planet, okay? What do you mean by avastha of a planet? See, for example, let's put Venus, okay, in Taurus, for example, okay? And we all know that every planet, every zodiac sign or the Rashi is going to be made up of 30 portions, 30 degrees, right? 30 degrees. So when you just talk about 30 degrees, I'm going to just text it here. So if you're talking about 0 to 10 degrees, for example. So when you're talking about 10 degrees, so this is called the Balya Avastha of a planet. So when it is in the beginning stage of the Rashi. So how it behaves when it is in the earlier portion, the first Drekana of the Rashi. Drekana is like the 10 portions. So this is what is the position that we need to talk about. Then when it is placed anytime between 11 to 20 degrees, we call that as Yuva Avastha of the planet. So this is a very important step to note down, because many people will say, oh, I have an exalted Jupiter, I have an exalted Saturn. But in what avastha it is there? It's going to get the strength. There are Shed Balas there. I'm not going to talk about all the Shed Balas here, but we are only talking about Avastha today because it becomes too complicated video. So I want to make it simple, right? So this is one Avastha. This is another Avastha. And there is a Avastha called Mudita Avastha also. So that Mudita Avastha is going to be towards the fag end of the Rashi. So let's say 21, right? And then 30.
Okay.
Does it make sense here? So
Yeah.
0 to 10
Sorry,
degrees.
one thing more. One thing, like we have certain planets which are like with degrees. We have planets at exalted point. Like Mars is exalted at 28 degree.
Yes.
So,
It's going to go for the
so this
deepest
is
exaltation. It's different. It's
yeah.
different. See,
Okay.
always understand one thing. If I open Jagannath Hora, I'm going to open Jagannath Hora here. Okay. Let's just take a live thing here, what is going on, and try to understand. See, for example, it's now 19 degrees of Lagna. All right. So always remember the chosen exalted points of planets is always going to play a vital role. See, for example, if you are talking about this, Sun gets exalted in 10 degrees of Aries. Okay,
Right.
it doesn't mean that it's only at 10 degrees it's going to give the best results. It's not that. It will anytime between 0 to 10 degrees, it is still in exaltation position, but it reaches the max point, max out.
Okay.
We say like max out bonus, they say, right?
Okay.
So that point is 10 degrees. That's all. That doesn't mean that 1 to 10 degree is not bad. It is called Mula Trikona of Surya. If it is own house in Leo, it will still do good things. Okay, and in debilitation, yes, this is the place where it becomes very weak. We call it as fall house of Surya, something like that. So what you need to understand is 10 degrees, the Balya Avastha, is Sun going to do good in Balya Avastha? Why not in Yuva Avastha? What happens when it is in between 11 degrees and 20 degrees in Aries? That may be your question. Please understand, these points are already predetermined by our rishis. Right? So moon gets best result in 3 degrees. It's very much of a Balya Avastha. So that means, does it do bad in 15 to, 11 to 20 degrees or late in the end of the Rashi, like 28 degrees? Does it do bad? No. It's going to reduce its proportion of goodness when it is far away from the defined points by our rishis. Okay, so we have to take this by default because they would have done a lot of experiments and then they found this is the best position of exaltation point of a particular planet. See, like what you said, 28 degrees of Capricorn is considered as the maximum point, the best results that Mars can give in Capricorn zodiac sign. So Mercury can give the best results in 15 degrees of Virgo, exactly in the middle. This is very coincidental. It's Yuva Avastha also. So Yuva Avastha point also matches, and it's also going to be the exaltation points as per the sages, right? So as per our gurus. So it's a coincidence, but you must understand it really does very well in the zodiac sign of Virgo, and more so, its peak point is always to be referenced back to this chart. Okay, always I would encourage our viewers to take a screenshot of this and try to apply in their own charts. Always understand maximum point of benefit results of a planet will come in this particular column of exaltation, and Mula Trikona is the next level. Own sign is going to be the next best level. So the worst possible level is in the debilitation, right? That means here 100% result is going to give, here 75% it's going to give. This may be anytime between 60 to 75% results, and then debilitation is 50%. Please, I'm not saying zero here. If you notice my videos, I will never say a planet gives 0 results. No, it is not like that. See, what is debilitation? You must technically understand what a debilitated planet indicates. A debilitated planet indicates that you have done certain bad karmas in your past life related to that particular bhava of your life. Because planet, if let us say Saturn gets debilitated in Aries, millions are born on this planet when Saturn goes to the debilitation point in Aries, right? Not all will get affected in the same areas. Everybody will have affliction of Saturn in different areas, depending on what? Depending on their lagna.
Right.
Right? So for some people, it may be career, some people it may be relationships, some people it may be children, some people it may be attaining salvation, the moksha or the spiritual journey. It can be different for different people. A bad relation with the siblings for someone. So it can be different for different people depending on the lagna or the ascendant, and the two ascendant degree are also the ascendant nakshatra and ascendant nakshatra's lord. So
Right.
many points, so many layers of scanning we have to do when we have to judge a particular horoscope. It takes a lot of experience. It's not that easy. You cannot just write a software anyhow and say that this planet exalted and this is going to give the best results. All right.
Right.
So now let's come back to our topic of Balya Avastha, what it gives. Okay, irrespective of the exaltation points and debilitation points. Okay, it is generally said that the planets are going to give the best results. Okay, let's go back to that chart. What I was trying to say here, it's going to give the best results in Yuva Avastha. Okay, it is something like this. Imagine. So I will give a very practical example for you to better cognize it. Okay, so imagine there is a house. Okay, so and who is guarding that house? See, always we need some people to be there to protect the properties of the house, right? If not, somebody else will come and steal the things away. So if a young man of age between 20 and 35 years is there, nobody dare to go to that house and steal anything, right? Imagine a small baby is there only and its parents, they have gone somewhere else. What happens? There is every chance that somebody may come to the house and take away the things if nobody is noticing, right? So that is the Balya Avastha of that house. I'm talking literally the house.
Yes.
The same way, a very old man is there. He's coughing and he's sleeping in a room. He's not even able to get up. What happens? It is the same effect as that of the child being in that house.
Right.
So it's the best thing to see the avastha of the planet. Okay, some planets like to be exalted in the Balya Avastha, like Moon. Moon wants to have that Balya Cheshta. So it wants to be a very active and young baby. Always people who have exalted Moon will be looking like baby only, right? So they will have a very bright smiling face, you know, a beautiful smiling face all the time. Whatever difficulties comes in their life, they will be always smiling. So that when there is an exalted Moon there. Example, the best example of Bollywood actress Shilpa Shetty, right? She has an exalted Moon, right? So in Rohini Nakshatra. So she always keeps smiling. You can see that. She has her husband in deep trouble and all that, but still the smile on that face is still there. That the Balya Avastha of Moon is always playing a permanent role in her face. You know? So that's the example. And then when the planets are really there in the 10 to 12 degrees, if your Lagna goes to 15 degrees, for example, that is the best. You know why it is best? When you see there is something called Bhava Chalita Kundli, right? So if Lagna is somewhere closer to 15 degrees, all planets will remain same. You see here also the same. This is 19 degree. It is exactly the same. If you see these two charts, Bhava Chalita Kundli and this one is exactly the same. Let us say, let's put the some other time here and let's increase the, it's now 145. Let's put maybe 245. Okay. And see what happens. So you can see.
Here also this Venus is there, which moved to other house at previous time.
Okay. Oh, it was moving. Okay. That's fine.
Yes.
So I think I put too much there. Instead of 245, I put 230, for example.
Okay. Right.
I want to keep the ascendant is the same.
Right.
You see, it's fag end. This is what I wanted to demonstrate to our audience. When Lagna goes to the fag end, look at what happens to other planets. So you said Venus moved, right? Where is Venus here? Right now it is here. So Venus is shown in Kanya Rashi or the Virgo zodiac sign. Why? Because you look at the angle. It is just 10 minutes. 10 minutes of Venus. It has just entered. Perhaps yesterday it must have entered the zodiac sign of Virgo. Okay, but in Bhava Chalita Kundli chart, it's going to show differently, right? So where is Venus in Bhava Chalita Kundli chart? It is still in the previous previous
Right.
house itself, because
Exactly.
1 minute less than a degree is nothing for it. It is supposed
Right.
to be in the Simha Rashi itself. That is what it shows. So now you understand the importance of having Lagna in the middle of the Rashi, right?
Right.
So that's what it is. It becomes the Yuva Avastha, the person born with such characters, the middle of the Rashi, the ascendant, they will be more active, more dynamic in nature, more action oriented, right? The people who are born in the fag end of the Rashi will be a little bit lazy, okay? And
Okay.
then young ones are too childish. They don't behave
Okay.
mature. So how the man behaves in the child state, the youth state, and then the old state, it's exactly the same way the Lagna behaves. So you must
Okay.
understand this. The man will have everything derived from Lagna or the ascendant.
So this behavior will continue throughout the life, or only there are some phases in the life
No,
like
no,
this will
this is for
dominate?
lifetime. This, you see, the
Okay.
moment that the person is born with this is a permanent magnetic impression that goes to
Okay.
this body, right?
Okay.
So this cannot be changed. Okay, when it manifests more so whenever the dashas and antardashas of those planets comes into play, especially those
Okay.
things that is changing, chestabala. See, for example, Venus. Venus behaves in two different. It has got two characteristics here. It can behave in the third house. How it behaves in the third house, how it behaves in the fourth house. So it gives characteristics for that person. He will behave at times in both the ways. So when Venus
Okay.
is in the third house, he will have a beautiful artistic hand, and the way
Right.
he communicates will be very artistic. he,
Right.
he, he has a beautiful short journeys and very fruitful short journeys and things like that. And in the same time, fourth house means beautiful residence, right? It's a
Right.
commercial building and a very architectural house, very artistic house he will keep, something like that. So you must
So can you
understand.
guide like at what time we have to see the Rashi chart and what time we have to see this Bhavachalit chart?
That's another topic, but still, I will tell you, Rashi chart is always to be referenced. But when you want to
Okay.
understand the position from Lagna, okay,
Okay.
whenever there is extreme positions like what I showed you, the example of 29 degrees or
Right.
1 degree, 2 degree. So in that time, still, it is better to refer back to Bhavachalita chart and see whether the position of the planet is correct or not. Sometimes it will
Okay.
make a big difference. The person's behavior will be totally different when you see the extreme positions of the planets, extreme Balya Avastha or extreme Mudita Avastha, right?
Got it.
Generally,
Right.
between 10 and 20 degrees, it doesn't change much. It will be within that
Right.
span, right?
Right.
So that's what it is about the planetary dashas, right? Like whether what type of effects that
Avasthas.
Malya Avastha
Right.
or Yuva Avastha or Buddha Avastha is going to happen. Now, let's try to cover this point number 5 here, exalted planets with malefic planets. It's very, very important. So, first of all, by definition, what is malefic planets? Malefic planets, natural malefics are there and functional
Right.
malefics are there. There are two types.
Right.
So,
Yes.
natural malefics, you can just assume that Saturn, then Mars. Mars is also considered natural malefic, Rahu Ketu. Okay, in classical astrology. I'm today talking mainly about classical astrology. These 4 planets, I don't include Sun as a natural malefic because Sun is a king. Okay, king will
Right.
always have to be shrewd to command his army, right? So he has to be shrewd. But he's a Krura Graha, but he is not a malefic Graha. The king cannot be malefic. Otherwise, the kingdom gets spoiled, right? So we can
Yes.
never assume Sun as a malefic planet, but he is a Krura Graha. He has to be like Kshatriya, character of his Kshatriya is to defend his kingdom. That's what Sun does in astrology. Okay, so we will consider those 4. And then there is something called malefics, which are functionally malefic. So
Right.
the lords of third house, the sixth house, then 8th house and 12th house. These 4 bhavas really are called retarders. I call them as brakes in your car, right? They are required. They are required, really. Like, for example, Adani is buying so much of shares and properties, his assets is going up. But inside it may be hollow. It may not be belonging to him fully, right? So
Okay.
you still need a break there. You need to have a correction of those stocks. Otherwise,
Right.
this man is going to create a very impossible bubble in the economy of India. I'm just
Yes.
giving an example of what is going on currently. So
Right.
the retarders are also required. You need an accelerator also. The 159 triangle is an accelerator for your career. It's a career boosting planets. Whoever is the lord of 159 always do good things, and 1, 4, 7, 10 kendras also are going to be very good for the person. So always remember one thing: 1, 4, 7, 10 kendra sthanas are called Vishnu sthanas. That is the most powerful consciousness in this universe. In the same time, 159 is called Lakshmi sthanas. So that is the feminine form of that supreme consciousness. So this 159 and 14710 kendras and trikonas are extremely important in building the personality of a person. So when these are building, there should be some retarders and breaks, and that is where your 3, 6, 8 and 12 comes into picture. Am I making sense here, Rajiv?
Yes, right. Like we have one action, we have equally an opposite reaction. So something like that.
You cannot have a car which keeps driving very fast. You need a brake. If not, it will be a disaster for the driver, right? The driver meets with an accident. So he needs brake at some time. He needs to accelerate a pedal at some time. He needs to have a good balance so that he can smoothly ride on this life. Okay, that's what it is. Now, exalted planets with malefic planets. See, always malefic planets, they have the job to do malefic things in your life. Okay, let's take an example. So what happens in this combination? An exalted planet with a malefic planet. Okay, let's take the exaltation of moon. That I don't have moon here, Buddha. So Buddha gets exalted in Virgo. Okay. So let's take this example. He gets exalted in Virgo according to classical astrology. Let us put one malefic here, which doesn't do well in Virgo. That is, let's put Saturn there. Okay. So when this combination happens, choose a lagna for me. Which lagna you want to talk about? Which ascendant? You choose the ascendant yourself, Rajiv.
Maybe we can choose Aries ascendant.
Aries ascendant. So here, does it satisfy this condition? Exalted planets with malefic. So this is also a malefic already. Buddha is already malefic for Aries ascendant. So you cannot choose Aries ascendant here.
So maybe we can choose then this
choose
Taurus ascendant.
So you choose Pisces. Seventh Lord exalted, right?
Right.
So for this man, this becomes the fourth Lord. Okay. Mercury is the fourth Lord. I just put 4 here. And Saturn is always the 11th Lord here. 11th and 12th. So let's put 11th and 12th. So let's put Saturn as 11th and 12th Lord. Okay, I'm just doing the corrections according to the Lagna that we are choosing. So let's say Saturn is along with his 7th Lord. Let's move it here. And he is the Lord of Aquarius too, according to classical astrology. And now you say what happens in the 7th house. So this is the question that can be easily answered. So 7th Lord in the 7th house and 4th Lord in the 7th house also, it's getting exalted. This man is supposed to have what? The best wife and the best house, right? So imagine if this retarder break is not there, he will be going on with his real estate. So he will have a lot of properties. He may get into a lot of कर्ज में डूब जाएगा. He is going to get a lot of loans. Where he will be very greedy in making properties, and even after his marriage, his wife also will be interested in amassing properties and things like that. Right? So we are purely talking about Buddha or Mercury when nobody is there to stop him. Now let us put the break retarder. The 12th Lord Saturn comes here. That means he is going to make some mistakes when he buys the property, when he takes the ideas together with his wife. Right? So he may end up in a property which may have some litigation, courts and cases and losses. So when a man can incur losses when he has to attend the court cases, instead of going and doing his business or job, he has to go and attend the court case. So he's losing his salary, he's wasting his time. All that fizul ki karcha. Right? Wasteful expenditure.
Because 12th Lord.
12th Lord. 12th Lord has a combination with 7th Lord, also can put some problems in marriage. Right? So automatically, which planet is in the highest degree you must see. Right? The planet with the lowest degree will have more push when both of them are in the non-retrograde, direct motion. If there is a retrograde motion, you have to study differently. If Saturn, let us say, is in the higher degree and is retrograde, it is also going to have higher say than Mercury. Right? Retrograde is going towards, is going to take the backward step there. Instead of thinking forward, it is thinking backward, and it is trying to spoil the seventh lord, Mercury. So that is what it is. So you have to analyze this in a very, you should go and study so many horoscopes. Only then you get into perfection. This is like a beautiful musical instrument. More and more you tighten the thread of the veena, the musical notes comes in a better way. That's how you can practice, that's how you can do it. So you should always look into which planet it is. Is it functional? Okay, functionally malefic. Saturn is malefic naturally also. So in both ways, he's going to give some court litigation matters for this man, either in the real estate things, or it can be a marriage relationship problems, or even business also. Please understand, Mercury in the 7th house can give a lot of business. That too, it's exalted. So business partners. So business partner koi to hoga wo dhokha de dega. There may be a partner who can come in the later half of the business, and he may spoil that business itself. So that is,
and being a 11th lord, this Saturn give benefit to him?
Yes and no. Why? Because you must understand, Saturn becomes debilitated in Virgo according to Greenstone Lobos concept also, because he gets exalted in Pisces. Opposite house is fall house for Saturn. So even though it's 11th lord, Labhadayaka, initially that business partner is going to give a lot of ideas, and he will also invest some money for the sake of investment, but later on, when it comes to loss in the business, he will run away from you, or he may induce certain things, and he may even take over the business. We never know. If the Saturn is behind Mercury in that particular 7th house, so he is going to push Mercury out into trouble. So that is what you have to see. The planet which is behind has more strength. Whenever you are studying the combination of planets, conjunction of planets, keep this in mind.
And like this Saturn is generally a friend with Mercury, because Mercury is
natural friendship. Yes. Mercury,
so how does it impact here?
See, Mercury thinks Saturn as neutral, but Saturn thinks Mercury as his good friend. So that natural friendship part also is there. So it may reduce the impact of doing harm to this man. Maybe they may get into court cases, but after a while, then they will realize that, okay, let's compromise. It's also
let me share, like, it's an excellent knowledge, like, which I am thinking, because it's so covering so many layers in one inside the other.
It comes naturally. See, when you happen to see more and more horoscopes, right? So you will get into a situation wherein, yes, you can judge this way. And then whenever the dasha, antardasha of Saturn is coming, depending on whether he is behind or ahead of Mercury, and his angle also, he is mudita avastha or yuva avastha, means he is going to give you more impact during his dashas and pratyantara dasha also, because you have to see pratyantara dasha of Saturn. So during those 3 stages, Saturn is going to favor or going to give problems to this marriage or partnership, or something related to the house purchase, property purchase, even car. 4th house represents cars, luxuries, anything to do with the comfort of a person is 4th house. And even it can be related to the mother of that man. Also, the death of the mother can happen when there is a wrong combination of planets, related to 4th house. So 4th house, and then more so, Saturn also aspects the 4th house through his 10th drishti. So that's this example that we have chosen in random is really, really very powerful example. Saturn throws the effect on Lagna. Saturn throws the effect on the 4th house also. So this man, whoever, if at all belongs to somebody, he may purchase a house that may have litigation, for example. Because 12th lord is aspecting your 4th house. And this 12th house means it's foreign lands. So he may even migrate to foreign lands. High chances of it. So many things Saturn can trigger sitting in the 7th house whenever his dashas and antardashas comes.
And there are people like who normally purchase litigated land because of
and make money out of it.
lower prices.
Yes.
Does it?
That is also possible. That is also possible because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn also.
Okay.
And
Nice,
more
nice.
so, it happens in a favorable way when Mercury is ahead of Mercury is behind Saturn.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the crooked business mind comes from Mercury there, and those
Right.
people will be in asset recovery uh, process. Whichever is the
Right.
bad debts of the bank, they will employ
Yes.
certain people. So these people may be working there in such organizations, or
Got it.
they may take that as a contract subcontract business. Going and acquiring the properties which are in litigation. Yes,
Right.
so many possibilities is there. You know. So you must
That is
understand
nice.
when Parashara Maharshi started this astrology in his times, these many combination he might have also not thought. I think so, right?
Yes.
Now there are so many professions are created as the man is progressing. There are so
Right.
many new professions are created. There was nothing called asset
Exactly.
recovery during Parashara Maharshi time,
Right.
isn't it? But now it is there.
Yes.
The
Right.
planets are giving similar results according to this time frame you must see.
Right.
That's how we can judge it. Okay. So the
Yes.
next one is the exalted planets are combust. Very, very good question. See, please understand any planet that comes, in my opinion, in my personal experience, I have seen plus minus 3 degrees of Surya is considered as a combusted planet. Right? So, what do we mean by combusted planet? What happens? The combusted planets are always going to cause problems because they lose their power. Especially the enemies of Sun will get affected more in this combination. Right?
Okay.
So, what do I mean by this? For example, we talk about Venus. Let us take Venus. Okay, Shukra.
Right.
Let us put Shukra in Libra. Okay, and let's put Surya. I don't have Surya here. Let's assume Mars as Surya, just for fun, for
Right.
example. Okay, so let's put back all the other planets here, and let us take the example of Aries ascendant. Okay, for Aries ascendant, Venus becomes the seventh lord. Seven is here, so seventh lord is right there, Venus, and then I am saying this is Surya. Assume it's Mars. Assume it's
Right.
Surya. Surya happens to be the fifth lord. So now, can you guess what are the things I'm going to say? Can you guess? Okay, fifth house is what? Love and romance also.
Right.
So the Surya is supposed to give him a wife whom he loved before marriage, right? So this is a perfect example for love marriage, supposed to be.
Okay.
But what is going to happen here? If these two planets, and I will say. So what I was trying to say here is this again, okay? So whenever there is a combination of fifth and seventh, it normally ends up in love marriage. And if these two planets, when Surya and Venus are within 3 degrees, some people say plus minus 5 degrees, it's going to end up, the love marriage is going to end up in divorce. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The reason is this: Shukra is the planet which gives the juice of happiness of marriage, and once it comes closer conjunction with Sun, it gets combusted, and the good effects of that Venus is really going to be spoiled. You get my point?
Right.
That is
Yes.
the issue here. So whenever you have this type of combination, we are going to see that there is a problem in marriage. Okay, initially it will be very high level of love because the romantic planet Surya for this Mesha Lagnam or the Aries Lagnam is going to come in the house of marriage, which is the best one. But unfortunately, what happens? Seventh Lord in the seventh house, which is supposed to give a very good bonding with this husband, the wife will get misunderstandings and there will be a problem. There will be
Okay.
a so the combustion is playing this effect. Let us say the same combination, if we put Surya here in the fifth house of Virgo, sixth house of Virgo, and let us say that we put Buddha or Mercury there. So in this combination, what is happening? Sixth house, sixth lord in the sixth house, which is good. Bad planet in the bad house is Raja Yogam. Please understand, Mercury, it's a functional malefic for Mesha Lagna people.
Right.
If it is placed in the sixth house itself, it is going to protect. See, you will always protect your house, right? You will never dislike your house.
Yes.
It somebody is throwing stones at stone pelting is done into your windows, you will be the first person to go and fight for it, right? That's what this planet also does. It may cause some nervous related problems because Mercury shows something related to nerves, right? So medical astrology says that this person will have some nervous related problems. He may have to take Nairobian injections, to activate the neurons, some things like that. But he is going to protect the sixth house, and when it comes in close conjunction with Sun, within plus minus 3 degrees, it may form a Budaditya yogam. There is a yogam.
Right. Yes.
Mercury, Aditya is Surya. It gives razor sharp brilliance, we say, whenever this Budaditya yoga comes. But you must understand, this man, the first half of the life, he will suffer from, making wrong decisions or incorrect decisions. His intelligence will not be fully matured. But once he reaches maybe 24, 25 years after that, after his graduation, so I'm not saying 35 years, because Buddha is a very fast-moving planet. So it gets matured much before, even 24. So once he completes his graduation, that age, once he gets into the job, that person is going to do very brilliantly. Because sixth house is day-to-day activities. So day-to-day activities, competition, he's going to do very well with competition. But the first young age, he's going to make mistakes. He will be forgetful. His intelligence will not be above average. He will be average intelligence. Because
Mercury get matured in 24th, so he will be good after 24th.
24th. And before that, what happens, and more so with this person will be, fifth house is house of education. So sixth house, Surya becomes, I'm telling you this is Surya, not Mars. It looks like Mars, right? So Surya or the sun is the lord of education. So any bhava which is second to it becomes the gain of that. So when sun enters the gainful house of that, this person is going to take full advantage of his education. So that means he's going to work in the same field of his education and takes very good name and fame in the daily routine of job, So that's very important. Please always understand, let us say if this is 10th house, okay, I'm going to put Capricorn as the 10th house. So from this 10th house, if you consider 7, 8, 9, the Bhagya of 10th house of karma becomes your 6th house, right? So many people are scared of 6th house. Actually, you should not be scared of 6th house because it is the luck of your karma.
Right.
If you have done good karma in the past life, your 6th house is going to be always in your favor. It will never do harm to you. Right?
Okay.
So that's, we always see the Bhavat Bhavam effects. In addition to all the aspects, I said one thumb rule. One thumb rule is that what? Any planet which comes within the zone of plus minus 3 degrees, they are going to cause problem for the native. Depending on what planet it is, if it is related to Venus, it is going to give problems in relationships. It may end up in divorce. I have seen divorces happening when there is a combustion of Venus with Sun. At the same time, intelligence get problem in the early age when it is combusted. The Buddha is going to get combusted with Sun, and so on and so forth. So always
and for Jupiter, like you are
it is a Jnana Karaka, right? So function, for example, in the same house, I will just remove this and put this one. Okay, let us fit in Jupiter here. Jupiter happens to be his Bhagya Lord. So the best planet for Mesha Rashi is always Jupiter because it is the owner of Sagittarius. So, but when it comes to 6th house, it becomes like a house of a lawyer, So the law, Jupiter is a law. It comes into the house of litigation. So what happens? He can be a very good lawyer, right? So, but if he is combustion, if he is in combustion with Sun, so that luck factor reduces. A luck factor reduces because Jupiter here is fighting too much to protect this man. So instead of doing good things, he is very busy in daily routine mitigation problems for this Jatak. So see, wherever Jupiter sits, he always does good. This is the beautiful effect of Jupiter. But unfortunately, when he goes to the bad house, like 6th house and all that, he keeps fighting every day. It becomes a firefighting. The Guru is very busy in doing all these trivial things, and then he will not have much time to do and give good things for the Jatak, which he's supposed to give. He's supposed to give financial freedom. He's supposed to give children. He's supposed to give a good marriage. He's supposed to give all the property related matters, which he's going to delay because he's very busy in protecting this Jatak in the 6th house.
Right.
So in the same way, all the things are to be judged. All right. So with that, we cover the planets when they combust. So last part of the topic is what happens when exalted planets are in retrograde. Okay. So this retrograde is very tricky. Okay, very tricky. See, please understand, there is nothing called retrograde at all. All the planets has to go in the clockwise direction except Rahu, Ketu, which are magnetic nodes of the moon.
Right.
So by right, it has to go in the reverse direction. Otherwise, all planets will go in clockwise direction only. So
Right.
it so happens that when it is coming in the close purview of Earth, when it comes very close to Earth, it seems that the planet Earth is going a little bit faster. And because of that apparent view from planet Earth, we feel that the other planet like Jupiter or Saturn or even Mars or Mercury is going a little behind temporarily. So that happens more so for outer planets, especially Saturn and Jupiter for longer period. Otherwise, Mercury retrograde and all will be very short duration. Okay, like 10 days, 15 days maximum. But with the Saturn, when it gets retrograde, it can go even up to 3-4 months or 5 months maximum. All right. So now, what is really happening and how it affects the horoscope of the person? So retrograde planets means what? It's something like, always remember one simple analogy. You take a bow, you take an arrow. Okay. When you want to really fire that arrow, what you need to do is fix it to the string and pull it back. Only you are gaining what is known as potential energy. Okay, once the potential energy is raised and you leave the arrow, it gets converted. Potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy. Right? So whenever the planet is there, it is building its potential. Okay, so many people have many theory, but I have seen retrograde planets are very powerful. Only initially, the people will be in trouble. They will be feeling that they are not satisfied with it. The graha is not giving enough good results for that person. But the moment it matures, like Saturn matures at 35, Mercury at 624, and so on and so forth, when that particular period maturity happens, this person is going to gain that kinetic energy and he's going to do outstanding in that area, outstanding. Right?
Okay.
So that's the effect of planets. And now you're talking about exalted planets. So some people say the exalted planets behave as debilitated planets when they are retrograde. Actually, they are true to some extent because initially you have to suffer a loss. You have to go back, my friend. You have to stay back. You are in the back seat of the car. You are not in the front. You cannot drive your car of life. Okay, so you have to go. You are taken for a ride by the luck. Right? So wherever we say, go with the flow, right? You try to oppose it, you are gone. When there is a wind in this direction, wind is blowing, you don't go and show your eyes. You will get a lot of dust inside your eyes, right? So you have to turn the other side. So you have to go in the direction of the wind. Only then when there is a direction of the wave going on, you have to sail that direction. Then only you will survive in the horror sea. If not, the sea is going to swallow you. So that is what is the retrograde planets, and more so when it is exalted doing for you, right? So let's take one example. So when I talk too much theory, it may get, it may not go to the mind of the people. Let's put Cancer ascendant person, and Jupiter is exalted there, and it is the Lord of what? 6th house, and also the Lord of what? 9th house, according to classical astrology, right? So in this case, Mr. Rajiv, what is going to happen to this one? Okay, so this is an exalted planet, the most benevolent of all planets, and Jupiter. So when they say, when Jupiter goes in ascendant, it kills more than 1,000 doshas in the horoscope, right? So much powerful is planet Jupiter, and especially when it is in Lagna. Irrespective of whether it's exalted or debilitated, but still Jupiter means it has got so much power. Okay, so that's the biggest of all the planets in the solar system, right? And it has protected astronomically also. It has protected planet Earth by sucking all those unnecessary sleep which is about to come on Earth. By now we would have been destroyed literally if Jupiter were not to exist. So I'm talking a literal meaning of astronomy, right? Astronomy. Now, astrologically also, what we can say is this. When a person is having a retrograde exalted Jupiter, what it does, it's the lord of 6th and 9th for him. So it is supposed to give the best results based on 9th lord effects. And it is in the Lagna. When it sits in the Lagna, it gets the Digbalam. Right?
Okay.
So it's going to aspect all the good houses. It's going to aspect the 5th house. It's going to aspect of children, education, all the things comes to this man. 7th house of marriage and 9th house of luck. But all these 3 things will come little late in the life for these people.
Okay.
Why?
Once it is retrograded.
Retrograde, and it is exalted also. So it is become, if it is a Sadharan, if it is a normal, ordinary Jupiter also, it would have taken 30 years for getting them the maturity stage. But in this case, what happens is, it is going to further a little more delay. And then once they get that momentum, the arrow is shot rightly in the bow, and it gives the maximum momentum or the kinetic energy for the person once he leaves the arrow. Only thing is, he has to choose the right direction. Okay, if he chooses the wrong direction, because 6th lord also is Jupiter for him, he can go into debts, he can get into trouble also. But 9th house is the spiritual gurus. It can go in either direction. So he has to choose the target properly and leave that arrow. And I tell you, this man will be very, very successful in his mid-30s, early 40s and 50s. For sure. Okay, that is how we have to interpret the retrograde planets if it is exalted. And is it gaining the Digbalam also? And things. Right? So whether it is the Bhagyadipati or it is the 6th house of Trigbhava Lord. So it depends. I have taken a very good example because Jupiter becomes both here.
Right.
And on positive note, this gives very good education through competition. Right? 6th lord coming and aspecting the 5th house, being exalted. And also being
in the competitive exams, he will succeed.
This person will be very good and successful in, for example, you have a NEET exam, NEET,
right?
National Eligibility Examination for Medical Sciences. That person can write this exam and get very good marks, and he can gain further education through that success. So he can outperform his competitors. That's what Jupiter will do. All right. So that is the thing. And anything else left out in this one? I just chose one example of Jupiter. You can take Saturn, you can take any planet and apply the same concept, whether he's functional malefic, functional benefic, he's a Trikona lord or quadrant lord, and so on and so on. All right. So any other things that you want to talk? You have any other question before we...
You have answered most of the questions.
Yes, I'm always very excited to see questions, because once you ask questions, you have developed interest in that area,
Right.
So you will think more and more, and if you get the right answers, you will become a professional in that. All right. So with this, let's stop this video here, and I personally thank you for attending this session and asking very, very relevant questions, and that may benefit our audiences also.
Yeah. Right?
Thanks
a lot to you.
Thank you. And see you in the next week video with more and more questions, and we will be able to entertain our audience with interesting topics. Right. So textbook knowledge is always there. Only it becomes profound when you apply it. If not, it becomes a textbook. It will lie in some corner of your study room, and that's all.
Yes.
So you have to make it live. Jupiter means how it is, Saturn how it is, as a functional lord, functional malefic, what it is doing. Apply it. See, always take back this knowledge that you gain here, apply it to your own chart. You become your first guinea pig. All right, and then see what really played, because you know the truth. You have lived. I don't know how old you are. You must have been in your late 30s or 40s. Definitely, you have seen. So you would have seen some of these things already manifesting in your own horoscope. Then apply it to your wife or your children and your near and dear ones whom you know very well. Okay? Then it makes a lot of sense to you. All right. So let's close this video. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.